out. Last week's podcast was great. If you haven't had a chance to take a look at that one, please go take a look. Listen to it while you're driving, while you're working from home. Don't do it on your boss's time, though, and get in trouble by us. Don't blame it on us.
We'll deny it.
Listen to it while you're walking. Listen to it whenever you want. It doesn't matter.
Doing
but just listen to it.
dishes, whatever. Yeah.
Put it on while you're cleaning the house. But listen to it because Ramon put out a lot of great information. He's got a lot of experience, not just only in our background in the Navy, but he's also got a lot of experience with what he's doing post-Navy with his law firm. And I'll just tell you, I was so impressed with what he had to share with us and what we learned from it regarding, substance abuse and what children are going through with being taken from their parents and that sort of stuff. So I'm not going to rehash it. Just go take a look at it. It's a great podcast. Thank you again, Ramon, for coming on. We really appreciated your time, and you're more than welcome to come back anytime you want.
Great guy.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Josh,
Great
you got
episode.
anything you want to say regarding that?
It was a real eye opener. Real eye opener when he talked about the amount of cases and how frequent you wouldn't think kids and families and stuff like that. So it was definitely, as I said, an eye opener to what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
And that's just from this small area of this small state.
Right. He was talking numbers about one courthouse.
Yeah.
One courthouse on one day. I was just like blown away. I mean, I have a little bit of insight to it just because of the experience from what my wife has done in her past and she's shared with me, but to hear it like in the context like he shared with, I was just shocked.
Yeah, within like 2 hours of that podcast dropping, my parents called me because they had watched it and it like hit home for them.
Right.
With my family and my niece's kids and that whole system in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
They were totally blown away that we got a guest that talks about that and has so much passion for helping the kids, helping get families to where they need to be. It hit, like you said, it hits home. It was definitely eye-opening, and it was like, I'm glad there's somebody like him on that side.
Before we go any further, because I have some data I want to put on, do us a favor, and you hear other people talk about this and say this on their channels, and until we started ours, I never understood it, but it really, truly does help. So please take a second, hit the subscribe button, like the video, go back and take a look at the other ones and like them too, but please take a second. If you're watching these, if you've watched some of the other ones, it really does help us out if you subscribe to the channel, more than you may know. So please subscribe to the channel, talk to your friends, let them know about it. We're trying to do something really big here. And the more people that subscribe, the more it helps. So,
and the more it gets us out there and the more people, hopefully maybe we can help. So remember, as I say, hit that button.
Yep. Josh is the subscribe police. So
I'll get you.
Please let it go out there and subscribe to it. It does help. Like I said, I never understood it until we did this and I started seeing the background of what goes on there. So help us out. Yeah. Okay. On that note, like Josh was talking about, he built a scenario in that it's really, Ramon did, and I'm not going to get back into it because like I said, I'd want you to go watch the podcast. But one thing that has been brought to my attention by some people that is really happy and impressed with what Josh and I are doing, but they've said to me, I really think it's cool what you're doing, but I don't have a problem, and I never have had one with alcohol. And I said, no, I understand, but one thing I'll point out is this, and trust me when I tell you, neither one of us are ever going to vouch for trying to be any expert in these realms of addiction. There's people that are, and, maybe at some point we're going to try to get somebody on here that isn't expert in those worlds because I think it's valuable to have them, show what it is that they have to share with the world. But I did look up a couple stats, And I looked up a statistic because Josh and I come from a world that is the military and the submarine force, and that's who I don't want to say we're primarily trying to help, but obviously that's our community, So
And with these stats, we're submariners and we love numbers.
we love numbers, yeah.
Love numbers.
He had them when he was counting to make sure we had enough peanut butter,
Yeah.
and I had them when I was making sure that we were the right range away from bad guys.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's all you're getting.
Peanut butter and bad guys, baby.
That's it. So here's a statistic that I looked up. One in every and I kind of like alluded to it a little bit in the last podcast, but 1 in every 15 military/veterans are addicted to a substance abuse. So take that as you will. A submarine crew is depending on and I mean, somebody could beat me up in the comments if they want. After doing this for 20 years and being around submarines now for, been retired, so 27 plus years, almost 30.
Got some time on the pond.
Yeah, you could sit here and you could be like, well, Brian, it depends on fine.
You could bean count
The
it.
fact is that on average, a submarine crew, whether you're in a deployment cycle, out of a deployment cycle, on a deployment, boomer, trident, whatever.
Fast attack. It's
on average about 120 to 160-ish people. Okay? That said, that's about 10% of the crew that's addicted to something. Did I do that math right? About 10%?
Yeah, close to it.
Yeah.
I like it. That sounds like cook math to me.
Yeah. So, with that said, depending on the division that you're in and the division size, you could have about 1 per division that's addicted to a substance. So when those people say to me, and most of them were guys that were in the Navy, that were in the Navy, that I've never had a problem, and it's never going to be a problem for me, and it's never something that I've had to be subjected to. I'll leave you with this: you've had to deal with it, whether you dealt with it on your own, or you turned a blind eye to it, or you dealt with it in and around you, because you had someone either in your division, in your chief's quarters, in your wardroom, somewhere, somehow, someone was addicted to something, and either you helped them through it or you ignored it. So you may not have been, or you were the one. Like my case, Josh's case, right? You were the one. You helped somebody in your division, wardroom, whatever, or you ignored it. So the fact that someone says to me, "This is not a problem that I've ever had," I'm just going to call it what it is: bullshit. So I'm not trying to say anything negative about people that say that to me. What I'm trying to bring out is that don't think for 1 second that anyone is immune to this. And the reason I say it that way is because I said it in the last podcast. It's almost like cancer, right? This stuff has gotten so bad that addiction is like cancer. Anyone can get reached out and touched by this. So it could be in your family. It can be in your division. It could be at your command.
Social network.
Anywhere.
Even
And
outside the Navy employee. It's like you said, it's everywhere.
it's everywhere.
It's like what was the old thing, the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon?
Oh, 7 degrees of separation.
You
from
could
Kevin
do 7 degrees
Bacon.
of addiction.
6 degrees or something like that.
Like it doesn't have to be you personally that has the addiction, but it definitely you went through it in some fashion.
Right. So, and I get it, right? There's some people that are in the Navy or were in the Navy that feel like it's not the responsibility of them to worry and babysit and these are grown people, grown men and women or whatever that need to take care of themselves. Well, as a leader, if you're in a leadership position, it is your responsibility. And I'm not going to sit here and pontificate all that shit and get on a soapbox or whatever. My point is that there are people that are being affected by this addiction that you are probably being subjected to. And there's other things. So there's another part to this. And I'm not just talking about alcohol. The other side to it is you may be, the people that think that you could not be affected by it might be and I'm not pointing fingers. I'm the last guy to point fingers. I've been through enough shit. You might be addicted to something else and may not even realize it. So here's some examples of things that are addicting that we chase as humans because it's in our nature that we don't even realize that we're addicted to. So some of them are pretty easy to understand, and other ones happen and people don't even realize it. Prescription pills, it's pretty easy. Video games, smartphones, scrolling on your phone, the effects you get from scrolling on your phone, seeing that somebody liked one of your things or posting something and then waiting to see if people will like it, or sending a message and waiting to see if you get a response. Okay.
Instant gratification.
Instant gratification. That's a whole topic I used to talk about in the barbershop all the time. Shopping. Shopping is an addiction that's been around for a long time. I mean, long before smartphones even existed. The internet in general. Food. Food is an addiction. So just because Josh and I chose to use this platform and to talk about alcohol and our addiction to alcohol because we thought it was important, and we know that there's more people out there that have this problem, and it's a hard one and may be afraid to come forward and discuss it, doesn't mean that it's the only thing that's out there. These are just some examples and not all of them, and that's why I started with, listen, I'm not the expert. There are addiction experts out there that probably go to 4 years of school or something just for this. I don't know. I'm sure there is.
Or even more.
I'm not the smartest guy out there, and I never claim to be. So my point is that just be careful when you say that you've never been affected by it and you never will be, or you've never had, this is not something. I appreciate what you're doing, but this isn't something that really it's not going to affect, because it may not be alcohol, but next thing you know, you might have a teenage kid that grows up and they could be the one. It's happened before. And you're getting a phone call that your kid is, and I don't want that to happen to anybody. Just don't think you're immune to anything. And if you can watch this or listen to it and take something away from the people, you're going to probably take away a lot less from Josh and I, because like I said, we're not the smartest guys. We're trying to bring on smarter people than us, like Ramon that was here last week, to give you guys information so that you can have more tools in your toolbox in the event that anything ever happens, so that you have the wealth of knowledge in one's, and you can always go back and rewatch it.
Yeah. And the self-awareness part of what's going on around you.
Exactly.
And maybe you look and go, oh man, you know what? Maybe I am addicted to video games. I haven't been the father or the husband that I should be because I'm spending 5 hours a day,
Or how can I apply what I'm doing to what those guys talked about and how they acted when they were drinking?
Yep.
Maybe I'm doing the same shit, only I'm buying a lot of things online, or I'm playing video games, or I'm not focusing on my family.
Yep. When you let it take over your life and put it before the things that really matter, it's an addiction.
It's an addiction. So I just wanted to lead off with that because I've had a few. Trust me when I tell you, it doesn't offend me. That's not the reason why I'm saying it. It's more so just to re-engage and reopen people's senses to the idea that don't think that the only thing that you can be addicted to is alcohol. And don't think that just because you're not addicted to alcohol that you can't be addicted to other things that are just as destructive. Yep. So that was it. I just wanted to lead with that because this has been something that's kind of been on my mind for a few weeks, and I didn't want to talk about it too much with Ramon here because he had some great points to put out. but I wanted to leave that with everybody to kind of think about, and how you may be affecting your own life because of the decisions and choices you're making. So with that, you know,
Let's talk about something that just
yeah, let's go a
let's
little
talk about
different direction.
Brian coming out of the woods.
Okay, so last week, Josh had some funny comments and some messages sent to him because so last week I after Ramon's podcast on Thursday, we had his podcast. We sat down with him on Tuesday. Thursday I left with a couple friends of mine, and we went out to Pennsylvania. I hadn't even finished editing the podcast yet, and I had to go out. We drove out to Pennsylvania, all the way out by Pittsburgh. For those of you that are watching this that don't know where we're in Connecticut.
The eastern part of Connecticut.
Yep, southeastern Connecticut, all the way over by Rhode Island. So we drove out to Pennsylvania, which was about an 8-hour drive out by Pittsburgh. So I hadn't edited the podcast yet, which, trust me, I'm getting better. I'm learning more. I'll figure it all out.
And I have no clue, so I'm the last person Brian wants editing anything right now until I finish my apprenticeship in this wonderful, just in the Instagram and
He's
Facebook,
learning.
trying to make posts. So
we drive out there.
Brian's the man when it comes to that.
And which this part I don't mind, what I'm about to tell you, but we drive out and we're going into the woods to set up camp, and the further we get in to the mountains, I just see the signal on my phone ticking away down to nothing, and then it gets into satellite mode, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be great. I should have probably done this podcast edit before we left and uploaded it.
Oops.
So
you're excited about the woods.
I was happy to get out there.
Make a new podcast. Hey, Brian in the woods.
Yeah, all right. Make another video.
You call bow.
So we get out there, and because I'm going out to shoot the Total Archery Challenge that I've been talking about, and so we get out in the woods and everything gets set up on Thursday, and I wake up on Friday morning and I'm like, I gotta run into Starbucks or something and find Wi-Fi. Well, Starbucks, come to find out, they must have like some, and I'm sure one of the viewers might know more than I do. Starbucks has some sort of way to prevent large data files, probably so people don't go in there and like try to download movies or illicit
Stuff like
things.
that, yeah.
Yep. So I run in. I didn't know this going into this. I still don't know it for sure, but I just know what happened. So I get into town, and I go in to Starbucks. I order coffee because I don't want to be just that guy that walks in and doesn't get anything, just tries to steal their Wi-Fi. And I get a coffee. I sit down. I set up, and I start trying to get it all working. And what happened was, I see their Wi-Fi signal, and it's like it's actually got more signal than I have in my own house right now. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be great. I'm going to get this thing uploaded in no time. Now, I had edited it the night before at camp because I don't need Wi-Fi to edit it. So it's all edited. I got everything ready to go. All I got to do is just upload this thing. So I get out there, I set it all up, get on Wi-Fi, press upload. It gets to like 1% and just sits there. And I'm thinking maybe it just needs a head start. It'll get going. So I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting. I ain't stacking any wins with uploading, let me just tell you that. So I give it like a 5-minute or so time to try, and it just doesn't move. And it's like 7 o'clock in the morning. There's only like one other person in here, and this lady, she's a little bit older than me. She's sitting there. She's not even on her phone, I don't think. So nobody else is using the Wi-Fi but me. Maybe their cash registers or something. So I know I'm not like being, slowed down by that. And I'm actually enjoying the fact that I'm watching all these people come in first thing in the morning to buy their coffee, and the amount of coffee and crap they're buying. This one car pulls in, and these probably high school kids get out. There was 4 kids in the car, 3 get out, the driver stays in. They get, I'm talking like 10 things of coffee and a bunch of food. That had to have cost them close to $100.
Yeah, Starbucks ain't
Well, it was probably mom and dad's card attached to their card on their phone, right?
yeah.
They get out, they go to buy it. They get back to the car. All of them have their hands full. They can't even use their hands to open the car door. Kid in the driver's seat's just like messing around on the phone, not even paying attention.
He's like, I drove you here. I'm driving you back. You guys figure out how to open those doors.
And you know, one of those things was for her. She didn't even give a shit that they were trying to get in the car. They're trying to open the car with their foot. I'm just like, what in the world?
Ain't nobody got time for that.
So I'm just watching this melee of people all morning long coming in. I look back at the computer, 1%. I'm like, what in the world is going on here? So I'm like, okay, well, I know how slow it can be when I hook it up through my phone.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I got to try something. So I pigtail it to my phone, and I'm like, let's see if this is going to work. And lo and behold, make this long story short, I ended up hooking it up to my phone, and I uploaded the podcast Friday morning from my phone. It took it forever, but it did it. I mean, it was moving faster than Starbucks Wi-Fi. Yeah. But I think Starbucks Wi-Fi, they have something that blocks large files because these files are pretty big. I think they do that to keep people from being able to. I don't know. Maybe if we got somebody that works or has worked at Starbucks, is that a thing? And if it is,
let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah, let us know.
Put something in the comments. I'd be interested to find out. But so Friday was our first day of shooting. I get done with that. I get back to camp. We have breakfast, get showers and everything.
Now, were you guys legit camping? You guys were camping, not like hotels down the road.
No, so
you guys were like in the woods.
We found a campground probably 10 minutes from the event.
Okay.
Randy and his son had a camper, and then my truck, I have it built out so I can sleep in the back of it. I was sleeping in there, which it's a good thing we did because Friday it started raining.
Ooh.
And it didn't. It started pretty light, and it wasn't terrible. And I'm like, well, if it just kind of stays like this, it won't be too bad. But then it started raining, and it just kept raining all day Friday, and it was a sloppy mess. But we got out to Seven Springs, the ski resort out there outside of Pittsburgh.
Okay.
And we started shooting, and I got some footage. I'm gonna put up a couple shorts, maybe one, on the page, on the channel, so people can see them. They're on the Instagram page too. If you want to go check those out, there's a couple on there. I got a couple more to put up. But yeah. So we get out there. We got done eating breakfast, got our showers, headed out to the course, and one of Randy's son, his name's Josiah. One of his friends from college, he showed up, and his dad, which they were a riot. I got a story to talk about that. Okay. So so Josiah and his friend Eli both shoot competitively at the college on the archery team.
Oh wow,
and
awesome!
Eli's dad is the archery coach.
Oh wow, you guys brought in some ringers, huh?
Yeah, his dad's a funny guy. So we get out there. We had to wait for them to show up. They were coming in for a few hours away. They live in Pennsylvania, and Eli and Josiah go to school out there. So we get out there, and we're waiting for them to show up. They finally show up, and then our first knock time is at like 12:30.
Okay.
So we get out, and they showed up, and we shot some practice rounds, and then we went up on the mountain. And we started shooting. It was still raining like crazy. And the first shots were pretty easy. You know, they're just like 40 yards away or whatever through some trees. But there was a couple in front of us, and then in front of them. And I'm telling these stories because it's funny. I'm not telling these stories to like make fun of these guys. We were laughing with them. I don't think they were laughing though. There was these guys in front of us, a couple groups in front of us. These fellas must have went out and bought. I mean, they had to have like $5,000 worth of bow in their hands between bow.
Woo!
I'm not kidding, man.
Man, they went out and got it, huh?
Oh yeah. So they had these. They were target bows, not hunting bows. Like all of us were shooting hunting bows, which, just for anybody that doesn't know the difference, a target bow is usually shot for like competitive target archery.
Sort of like Olympic stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean,
Sorta.
doesn't have to be for Olympic, but it's
But that's what they do, right? It's specific, just
yeah,
target.
It's
shooting.
for like target shoot. I don't have it in front of me, but it's for shooting targets. So
You're not doing
you're not
barrel
gonna,
rolls.
They're longer.
Shooting at elk in the woods.
The risers are longer. They're for more steady shots that you can hold for longer. They don't have the poundage usually doesn't go as high. So like for instance, I'm sitting here looking at them over your shoulder. My hunting bows, I have one that goes up to 80 pounds, one that goes to 70, one that goes to 75. Target bows, they don't. I mean, the highest they might go is 70. Usually you shoot them around 60, 65 pounds because you got to hold them for a longer period of
You're trying to
time
really dial it in
order to get really where you want that pin before you let it go. Well, these guys are shooting target bows, and they got like these stabilizer on the front end to help make them hold. They're shooting these things. These stabilizers are like 4 feet long. My stabilizers are like 12 inches. Woo. So like 1 foot. They're like 4 foot. Well, the funny part is these are expensive bows. I mean, they got some money wrapped up in my hunting bow. My one hunting bow, I might have like $2,000 total, and this is like this year's bow with all the stuff on it.
Okay, so and you put some time, energy into it.
Yeah. Well, these guys, Eli and Josiah, shoot competitively, and I'm sitting there, and Eli had kind of like walked up to be able to see who was shooting and how they were doing, and we're kind of like the older guys, myself, Randy, and
Just
Eli's
sitting back.
dad are kind of sitting back, letting the groups go. Eli walked up to kind of watch, and all of a sudden, you hear, and the sound of an arrow missing, it just sounds. It sounds like a bottle, like when a bottle, or like better yet, it sounds like kind of like fingers on a chalkboard, back in the day. It just doesn't sound good. When you shoot a nice clean shot, it's quiet, and then all of a sudden you hear it hit foam into one of the 3D targets. It's just like no noise, and then into the
Just
target.
that.
Yep. When it misses, you just hear this arrow just going through and hitting tree branches. Right. So all of a sudden you see these guys, and they're full draw, and they're pulled back, and all of a sudden they let the arrow go, and it's like, and then the next guy goes up, and he does the same thing. They just walk off in shame. They don't even go look for their arrows.
They're just like, let's get out of here.
They're like, I don't even want to. Heads down, and it's raining, and they just leave. And
they're like,
and Eli, about faces, walks towards us, and he is like laughing his ass off. And I'm like, Eli, you can't laugh in their face, dude. And his dad's like, oh, he's going to. That's just how he is. I'm like, oh
boy, here we go, right? Oh,
we're on like now. There's 25 targets that day. We're on like target 11. When we run into these clowns, I'm like, we got a long day ahead of us of him laughing at dudes, and this continued.
Just
and
all the stuff, but not hitting the broadside of a barn.
Yeah, and we were on the Leopold course, which
because I remember you said there was different courses.
Yeah, so we were
probably...
this was like I didn't want to be on this course. I wanted a much more. This is like one of the easier courses. I wanted a much more challenging course. This was not that hard. I think the longest shot on that day, the longest one was like 70. And these guys, the average shot was probably like 40.
Okay.
And these guys were continuously doing this. And every time they'd walk right off.
They were like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah. And I was just like, oh my gosh.
The key thing is, how were they when they actually hit a target?
Or
did you not see that at all?
I didn't really go up close enough to see them.
Well,
but you can hear it. It's like I said, when they miss, it's bad.
You're like, ooh.
And you look over, you're like, oh my gosh, they did it again.
I didn't know if they cheer each other on. You saw like, yeah.
No, because they were actually, like I said, a couple groups ahead of us.
Okay.
But Eli was going out of his way because he's a young kid. He's like probably 19 or whatever. He's going out of his way to go up there to watch him, and then of course every time they miss, he's running back.
He walks back,
and I'm laughing. I'm trying not to laugh at Eli. I'm not laughing at the fact they missed. I'm laughing.
You're now laughing at this 20-year-old kid who's
just acting like a heckling idiot. Oh my gosh, dude, you gotta stop. It was terrible. It was terrible.
You're gonna throw us off.
I kind of felt bad. I think they ended up running out of arrows because at
Ooh.
one point, like we were probably still 7 or so targets before we finished, and we didn't see them anymore. I think they ran out of
They
arrows.
were like, all right.
Yeah,
Or
and
maybe they just went, time to go.
Eli's dad's like, the worst part about this, they're gonna have to explain to their wives why they got to go buy more arrows because there's vendors all over the place down there,
Yeah.
and they'll build arrows and stuff. He's gonna have to explain to their wives why they got to buy more arrows. My gosh.
Hey,
So
what's this charge for?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, what had happened was.
What's this $250 charge? Oh, it's just more arrows. But yeah, so we ended up finishing up day one, and we get down. We finish that up. 25 targets, raining like crazy, which was a lot of fun.
Probably cold rain too.
Yeah, it was chilly. It wasn't.
So.
It wasn't terribly cold, but it was chilly. So we get done, go back to camp. It's probably like 5:30 at that point. Get back to camp, get some dinner or whatever, and then I went to bed early. I think I went to bed at like 9 o'clock. And
There's
then
nothing wrong with that.
no, not at all. And then it started pouring. I think they were predicting like an inch of rain.
Being in the back of the truck, did it just echo when the
Oh
rain came?
man,
Were you like, what's going on? Oh man.
because the cap is metal.
Yeah, so was it just like.
It was like.
We was like, oh man.
But I slept like a baby.
Yeah.
And then
That's a win right there.
oh yeah, absolutely. So we get up the next morning. The rain had stopped, but now it's freezing. I think it was like, I don't know what it was when we woke up, but when we went over to the course, it was 41, something like that, and the wind was blowing like crazy.
Whew.
Yeah, it was blowing like crazy. Our knock time was at like 1, so that's when we were gonna go, and we were doing the REMF, Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation course. So what we didn't know until we got going was that there was only 15 targets. I didn't realize that.
Oh, for this specific course?
Yeah. So they were all elk targets,
Okay.
which we wanted. I especially wanted to do that because of elk season coming up.
So you can get
Yep.
after it, right?
Yeah. So we kind of messed around, waited for those guys to show back up again, and then we went back up on the hill. And these were cool because some of them were far. But the reason why they were farther is because the elk targets, a lot of the elk targets are huge. So we had a couple long shots, and we were having a lot of fun with that one. And you got to walk up some were pretty steep, some were pretty steep up and downs, and it was a good time. So that was a lot of fun, and there was a lot of people. I mean, the bad part about that one though is I think a lot of people signed up, and because a lot of the targets were far, what happened is it took a while to walk to them after you shot, and then you bottlenecked a lot.
So that waiting game, you'd be like, oh, let's wait.
Yeah.
Oh, let's wait.
Oh, I forgot to mention. I'll talk about it on here. I won't do anything about it on the Instagram or put any of the videos up. Eli and I had a little bit of fun on day one. We were probably about halfway through, and Randy and his son were competing for $60. They were playing for money.
Oh, they were like a dad's son, like little like
who
hey.
can win the money? And this is kind of funny. Eli and I weren't in on that, so we were just having fun.
Did you guys poke?
Oh, of course, we were talking shit to him.
Oh,
but
nice.
what ended up happening was because we weren't in on the money, we weren't really being serious about scoring. Because on these 3D targets, there's the removable part, and then into their scoring rings.
Okay.
So there's like a 12 ring in the middle, 10, 8, and then everything else is a 5. Well, since him and I weren't being really serious about the scoring, I said, Eli, we're going to do this. It's either head or antlers. That's all we're shooting for. He's like, I'm down. So we started shooting at either the head or the antlers on whatever. And yes, I'll preface with this. That's not how we shoot when we hunt. We're ethical hunters. It was just for fun, right? So don't go in the comments and be like, you guys are very unethical. That's not how we do things. This was just fun. They're foam. We were just having fun out there. But anyway,
you're being horrible to those foam targets, Brian.
So we started
Shame
doing that.
on you.
So here's Eli and I out there
Just
shooting 50, 60 yards at targets, like a bull ram, ram or something
just
like
right trying to
trying to hit the head. And then it was funny because people around us, like either in front or behind us when they were waiting, were like, hey, man, head or antlers, see what you can do. And then they started doing it. Thought it was hilarious.
like, you know what? Why not have some fun?
Why not have
It's
some-
rainy.
It's raining. The
It's
weather's
like,
terrible. Yeah, it was a good time.
like that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, are you allowed to say on the show who won, Randy or Joe?
Oh, yeah, I'll tell you. I can say whatever I want. This is our show.
Who
If they don't like it, come on the show and defend yourself.
did Dad end up victorious, or did the son reach the mountaintop?
Josiah beat him.
Oh,
Yeah, Randy lost.
Oh man,
Josiah's a good shot.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's good. Yeah, he's a real good,
well,
good
Randy's
shot.
like us. He's getting a little older,
Yeah, he can't hold. He doesn't work out, so he can't hold his bow as long. I'm calling him out. So
Yeah,
all the
no.
things I'm saying on here,
Does he have to
Love
wear a
him.
belly band?
he
To
probably
help out with that lower back.
he probably should. He always
Randy,
says
we love you.
he's always saying rounds of shape. I disagree. Also, he said he's not doing the tough ruck. So anybody listening that knows Randy Hinojos, go give him crap because he said he's not doing a tough ruck next year. I told him he should. He won't commit to it. I think he just needs some extra attention. So
He needs that extra motivation to get
Right.
him rocking and rolling.
that's right.
He does have a sweet beard, though. I'll give Randy that.
He does, but he needs a little bit of needs a little poking in for the tough ruck. So yeah, and then we finished that one up. It was freezing that day. It was so cold that day because of the wind, and I don't know. It was so cold. But we got done. It was muddier than hell back there in the woods.
Sloppy.
Oh god, it was terrible.
Ugh.
But it was fun, and we got it done, and then we decided that since we were done early, I told those guys, I was like, hey man, I think I'm heading out of here, and we got back to camp, and they were gonna stay, but then they buttoned it up, and we all headed home. We came home, got in at 3:30 on Sunday morning, so we had the whole day Sunday. To
Here's
be
a
at
quick
home.
question for you.
Yeah.
Since you said the word sloppy, this came to my mind. When was the last time you've had a good sloppy Joe?
We make them every now and then.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I was talking to my wife about that, and she's like it was beneath her. So I mess with her once in a while.
No.
Same thing with peanut butter and jelly.
Hey, I've
She's
said
like,
it on here a few times. I'll continue. I grew up in a trailer park. There isn't much food that's beneath me.
Yeah, but you said sloppy. And I was like, man, you know
We
what I
got-
could go for right now? A good old sloppy Joe on top of mac and cheese.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
We got government cheese when I was growing up, man.
Oh man. Or the peanut butter where you had to try to mix it back together, the oil,
Oh yeah.
because it was already separated. Not you left it in your pantry for 2 years. It came that way.
That's
I'm
right.
with you.
Yeah.
You're like, my mom's like, hey, I can cook with that oil.
Peanut
Love
butter's
you,
gonna,
Mom.
Peanut butter's gonna taste like
Yeah,
crap. but I
man.
can
Oh,
cook
that's
it.
awesome though. You guys took the situation and had fun with it still. It was
Oh,
like, what else are
man.
you gonna do while you're out there?
Yeah, you came this far. You paid all the money. You might as well enjoy it. We
Yeah.
did.
And you got the experience in, and we've been talking about it. You've definitely been talking about it. You went
Yeah.
out with good friends, and you got to meet some people.
We met some
Yeah,
really cool.
so-
Eli and his dad are great. I would.
Their trip.
Oh, I'd do it again with those guys in a heartbeat. Eli's, he's funny. just don't miss because he's gonna heckle you.
Well, if you guys need somebody next year to be the misser,
No, you're gonna come and be. You're
I'm
gonna.
the guy. I'd be like,
You can come and shoot, or we'll get you set up with a bow. I got plenty of them. Or you can come and be the videographer.
ooh. But you know how I squirrel.
I know.
Like, next thing you know,
I think
they'll
you should
be
just come and shoot. We set you up with a bow, and you can come and shoot.
and be like, I'll go get my arrow. I'll spend a lot of time in the woods.
Yeah,
I'll get my
You know how-
steps in.
Do you know how much them arrows cost, man?
Yeah.
Depending on the arrow that you use, they can cost you anywhere from $10 to $25 an arrow.
Yeah, I'm grabbing mine. I'm digging around in the woods.
Yeah, they're not cheap, man.
Did anybody else go like it? Because they spent all that other money.
Oh,
Did
we
they
found them.
Did you keep them?
No,
No.
we just
Be like, oh, we'll give them back to them.
yeah. This one guy was carrying them all for him. This other guy that was behind us, he's like, I got all their arrows. Hey, man, these guys needed help. They were not doing well.
It's like well, we're gonna do this. We have to. I see that.
I just felt bad.
Same
for
on the
them.
thing on the gun range. I see people show up and they've got all the top of the line gear.
I would predict that this is what these guys have. I'd predict they have like a Super Duty 250, fully loaded, lifted, brand new platinum pickup truck in the parking lot with all the stuff on it.
Yeah.
And that's their weekend truck they drove here. And then they drive like a 700 series BMW to work in the morning.
Wow, shame.
Yeah, I bet you that's they got. And no shade on them, hate on these guys.
Yeah, hey, it's what
They just
do.
probably got more money than brains. That's all.
Yeah. I see it at the range a lot.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, hey.
Hey, if that's how they want to spend their money.
But what's funny is when you bling bling sometimes, it tends to make all the normal, like your normal people that go to the range a lot, to start to watch you.
Oh, well, there was a lady that was in the
That's what
group
always
that was in
cracks me up.
between us. It was her and her husband. Her husband was shooting like a 3-year-old Matthews,
Yeah.
and she was shooting like this bow that all set up, everything was probably like $400 or $500.
Yeah.
And she was hitting all targets, and these dudes are $5,000 bows couldn't hit shit.
Yeah. But when you come out like that, people tend to gravitate to watch you because they're like, oh, they got all this stuff. Either they're gonna be
great or they're gonna suck.
Yeah. Let's find out.
They were the
And it sounds like
suck.
Eli was waiting every time to see once he knew what side they were on, he was like, I'm getting some joy out of this.
He was waiting for failure.
Uh,
I felt bad for him because they didn't have any coaching. They needed some help. People are probably gonna hit me up in the comments and be like, "Why didn't you go help them?" If you don't know anything about archery, it's not that easy. It takes, especially when it's pouring down rain, it takes a lot of teaching, and you got to see how their stuff's set up. It's not as easy as just going over there and being like, "Hey, have you tried?" It's not like shooting a basketball where it's like, "Hey, have you tried putting your fingers on the line and like snapping your wrist a little bit better, and maybe the ball will roll off." It's not like that. If they were set up wrong and their bow was not set up right and they were coached wrong to begin with, there's not much you can do for them in the moment.
Yeah, no.
It takes a lot more work than that to get that.
And you said you were a couple groups behind them, so it's like then you
Right.
gotta.
There's
maybe if you could have caught up with them after if they stuck around, you said, "Hey guys, let's take a look."
They need some time with being coached to correct the issues that they were having out there. In the woods like that was not the place to do it. So, yeah, but it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I'd do another one, but I think I'll do the Vermont next year and not drive as far.
Yeah.
I wanted to go to that one because it was the second largest Total Archery Challenge event that they do, the largest being in Utah.
Oh,
I wanted to go to that
one. A lot of archers out there, bow hunters and that out in Utah area.
Yeah.
I bet you that's massive.
Well, and that's I think where Total Archery Challenge is from. Is Utah.
So that's like their home base too.
Yeah.
Utah's got a lot of cool stuff.
They got a lot of cool stuff out there. So I wanted to go to it. The reason why that one's so big is because it's a central location for a lot of whitetail hunters.
So
I think it was a lot of fun, but it was also hard to get the courses we wanted. And the one up in Vermont is a lot closer.
Yeah. I like to drive to Vermont. I go there. We started last year too for high powered.
Yeah.
They have a regional up there games. It is awesome up there.
The only bad thing about Vermont this year is, and I hope it won't be like that last year, it snowed because their weekend was the weekend before ours.
Oh, and it was snowing?
It was cold and it snowed, and yeah.
Man.
I mean, this event, Total Archery Challenge, is one of those events where you kind of want it to be decent. You want it to be warm. It's like.
But they're like this.
You don't know. You're
like, idea. Hey, the weather is the weather.
The weather's been crappy at almost all, like West Virginia. It rained. Up in Vermont, it snowed.
Did somebody pop out in West Virginia with a banjo and start singing about it?
Oh my gosh, I can only imagine. That's where my dad's people are from.
Oh man.
Yeah.
All you got to say is wrong turn.
My dad's people are from West Virginia, and I looked in the family book. I don't think it's over there. Oh yeah, there it is. Hold on a second.
Oh man, you got a book? Oh, that's thicker
Look
than
at
what I
this thing.
thought.
The Steps and Staps Family of America. This is half of my dad's family tree on his mom's side. You ready for this? Hatfield and McCoys are in this.
What?
Yeah,
bro. Man.
We got the Hatfield and McCoys in here on my.
So West Virginia people do branch out.
Bro, it's crazy.
You know what? The fact you have that's pretty crazy that you got a book like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
and that. So,
Yeah.
speaking of that, that sounds like it was a great weekend.
It
We
was.
want to parlay into a book that we have here.
Oh yeah. What do you got going on?
So we've been talking about different books, people with the mindset. We're trying to stack wins. A buddy of mine got me this for Christmas a couple years. It's the
What
book
book? What
titled
book is that?
"Prepared" by Mike Glover.
You know, Mike Glover. I watched a podcast with him and Sean Ryan. Actually, I think he was one of the first podcasts that Sean Ryan did.
He did. He was, I think, first couple. And he has his own podcast.
Yeah, he's really good, man.
He's former special forces
For the Army,
for
right?
the Army.
Yeah.
He's the founder of Fieldcraft Survival.
Fieldcraft Survival. Yep.
And what I like about this book, I know it says it's a manual for surviving worst case scenarios, and not like we're preppers or anything, but what 2 chapters really hit me with this book as we talk about the stacking wins mindset is one talks about a resilient mindset and situational awareness.
Oh yeah.
And what I loved about that is it's a forward-thinking mindset, understanding your surroundings, understanding what your abilities are, and not having the victim mindset.
Oh yeah. So he talks about that, isn't
Yeah, 2 of the chapters outside of worst case scenario stuff, planning, prepping, different scenarios. He talks about a resilient mindset, just being that forward thinker.
He talked about that, I think, on that podcast I listened to. It's been a while.
Yeah, understanding your abilities, what you can be better at, what you can, train for, what your weaknesses are, and then always pushing forward, being ready, being positive, being on top of things, being one step ahead, and then the situational awareness is, I love that because I feel, and I see it like every day. People walk around like the world is butterflies and bubblegum sometimes.
Oh yeah.
And not saying it's doomsday, but it's like just be aware of the people. Be aware of the people you hang out with. Be aware of the places you go. Understanding, things like that. And I really love the book and what he does. I mean, yeah, he does a lot of stuff about prepping survival, but he really pushes hard about having a forward-thinking mindset. And I love that, and I just felt it works so good with us with stacking wins is that we had situational awareness, of course, about our addictions with alcohol abuse, but we're constantly going, okay, how can I make myself better? How can I be a 180 of the men we used to be? And always having that awareness of what's going on around us, stuff like that. Like, oh, hey, there's people, like you said, when, perfect example, when you went and did the mud, what was it?
Tough Mudder.
The Tough Mudder with Sam. Hey, you could go, no, I'm good.
Oh yeah.
That was situational awareness of what was over and like, no, I'm not going to do it, and having the really taking the stand for yourself and going, nope, I'm good. And like not falling like, I'll just hang out with them, in that area. You're like, no, I'm good. You pretty much, you stood your ground and said, no, I'm not going to do it. And that's what I really love about this book is besides, like, if anybody knows me, I do try to stay ahead of the game with preparing for some doomsday stuff. Not over the top. Don't talk to Christiana about that. Like, she'll tell you otherwise. But I love how he talks about a resilient mindset, a forward-thinking mindset, taking sometimes weaknesses and flipping them into attributes.
It's interesting you're talking about that and making yourself, just a better person, a better man, and everything. Sam and I have been talking about some of that stuff lately because he's really kind of, and I don't want to take us away from him, but just because him and I have been sharing it, he's really focusing on, wanting to become a stronger person, not just physically, in that respect, but more so too, so that when the time comes of being a dad and a husband and that sort of stuff, that he wants to be the example for his family and for his and I feel the same way. Like I feel like that's how I should be, how I should have been
I'm
and there
with
were
you.
times when I wasn't.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like when I was way too far down in the bottle, there were times when I wasn't. But to be a better example for his family and not to be vulnerable, that if there were a time that something were to happen, that he wouldn't be at his most preparedness as far as like physically or mentally or
Yeah.
whatever, to be able to take care of his family. And I think it's important to go in
Yeah.
conjunction with what you're talking about.
I definitely think we are called upon to be leaders of our households.
I agree because
And
there were times when I was not in the right frame of mind after drinking all night,
I'm
where
with
what
you.
would have happened? What
Yeah.
would have happened if some threat or whatever would have came into my household, and I was passed out in bed or on the couch and
Or
couldn't have done nothing to
yeah.
defend my family.
Or Nikki fell out of the crib.
Right, and
You
needed
guys
to go
got
to
to the ER,
and
and it's
I'm
like,
too drunk to be able to
yeah.
drive. And I look back on those days and I'm just like, what in the world were you doing, man? Like you were not in any state to help take care of your
and
family.
and that's another thing too. Go to the ER with a child emergency that's not like a sickness.
Right.
Like they watch you. They
Oh,
are making
absolutely.
sure that this isn't some sort of abuse case. That it really. When we had to take Teddy a couple years ago for stitches in his foot, I mean, we had like 4 different doctors and ask each of us this to make sure the stories were right. And they sort of were talk. I could tell they were talking to Teddy. He was only 3, but they were like, "Oh, so what happened,
So how
buddy?"
did this happen, little
Yeah,
guy?
and
Are you okay?
yep,
Is your parents?
like they're really. So yeah, you don't want to, and then like, oof, I wouldn't want to walk into an ER smelling like alcohol with a child that's
Oh
hurt.
Lord, no.
So, but no, that's awesome. I think, and Sam's like we served with them.
Yeah, on
Um,
Springfield.
yep, and I could see from what I see, like he's come a long way, especially with him as a mental game of being a young man.
Oh yeah, he's doing great. I
So
mean, he
so
did the.
that's awesome that he's making those changes. To try to better himself, to be the example for his family.
We did the Murph since we've been on here too, haven't we?
You guys did the Murph, yes, you and him,
Yeah,
because you said I have to do it with you next year.
yeah, because we did that. I think we did it, and then we had our podcast with Ramon.
Yeah, you did it that
We didn't talk about it
you
though.
did it that Monday because
Yeah,
Sunday
Monday,
night into
Memorial Day.
Monday, I was doing what? Smoking the meats.
That's right. Yeah, so Sam came over and he'd never done it, but we had talked about it and he said he wanted to. And Sam, for those that are listening that may not have realized it, go back a couple podcasts, you'll see a picture of him and I all covered in mud and everything. Sam and I did the Tough Mudder. Sam wanted to do the Murph, and Sam's going to be a guest on here at some point. So he's like, I'll do it. And I think I'm not going to speak for him, but I could tell just by his body language and the way he was kind of addressing it, he was a little bit intimidated by it because it is tough. So he came over, and that morning we started, and he did it, man. He did that sucker. I mean,
I'll be in it with you next year.
it was hard, but he did the Murph, and I was really impressed with him. And that was another one of those where, he wanted to do it. He wanted to stack that win, and he also wanted to. That was another one of those where by completing it, it was building another layer on his mind of what his abilities were. And
Pushing further than what he thought he could.
right, because before that, he didn't think he could do it. After that, he realizes what his abilities are much more than what his mind thought he could do. And he's really impressing me because there was a time when I tried to talk to him about doing stuff like this, and it was like not even on the table. But now he's seeing that he can do more, and I'm really impressed with him.
Yeah, watching it change, seeing him do this stuff,
Yep.
It's awesome to see because he's a young adult, and
He's got a future in front of him.
He's definitely got a future in front of him, and that's what I love to see. I love to see that change in that mindset of just being that no direction you get to a certain point, I feel you need to have some sort of direction in your life if you want to become the true leader of your household,
Yeah.
and and make those changes. And I could see that in him, and that just the way he's presents himself. The Tough Mudder was an example. He called himself out
Yeah, he did right on social
even on
media.
social media and said, "You know what? I took this in vain. Like I'm going to do
Yeah,
it."
he made it too lighthearted. Thought it
Yep.
was going to be a lot easier than it was.
And as we discussed, you were like, it was no joke.
Yeah.
Like, and he said, man, I struggled. I was hurting. I felt horrible, but it made me realize if I'm going to commit to something, I need to train for it and take it seriously. So
Yep.
when there is time to joke and toke during it on some of the downtimes, I'm carrying my weight.
Yeah.
Because, he asked you to go, and then he said, man,
Yeah,
I even brought Brian along, and then here I am just totally, but he called himself out, and that's part of that self-awareness, that accountability aspect, which I'm loving to see him have more of. That's awesome.
Yeah, he was having some struggles on that, but he did. He called himself out. This has been sitting on this table now for a few weeks.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that has really kind of struck a chord with me. It's a little printout, and it's Theodore Roosevelt's "Man in the Arena." I'm not going to sit here and read it, the whole thing, but if you get a chance, go look it up. It's his "Man in the Arena" speech, and it basically the gist of it is that the only one that can be the critic is the one that's actually doing it. And I'm going to start this, and I'm going to segue into what Josh is going to talk about. There's quite a bit of hate and people kind of bitching about stuff, but basically what Theodore Roosevelt, and this is President Theodore Roosevelt. So this is not something that's been going on for a short period of time. If he was talking about it back when he wrote this speech.
If you don't know, Theodore Roosevelt was our president back in the early 1900s.
Right.
Early 1900s.
So there's so many people that love to go and talk about how so and so, like I got one not that long ago. I was going on a run. I'll give an example. I put on my vest.
The guy.
Yeah. I put on my vest that has the water flasks in it. And some dude was like, I was doing like a 4-mile run, I think, or something like that. And I was doing a video, and the guy's like, why are you carrying so much water for such a short run? And my response was, so people like you will ask me. What's it matter? Like, if someone's doing something, it doesn't matter. The person in the arena is the only one. And like one of the lines in here, if he fails, at least he fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold, timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. So my point is that don't use the fear of not succeeding as a reason to not go out and do something. There's probably going to be times, and Sam is a good example. There's probably going to be times where you might be afraid that you're not going to do well on something. At least you're getting out and doing it. So you're trying to stack a win, right? I think he felt that way probably about the Murph, because the Murph, when you see it on paper, you're like, holy cow, 100 pull-ups? I don't know if I can do one. Doesn't matter. Go do it, because at least you'll be the man in the arena. But what you don't want to be afraid of is, one, not trying in fear of failure, and two, worried about what other people think about what you're doing. Because if you do those two things, you're going to live a life of fear. You're going to live a life of worrying about whatever everybody else thinks, and you're never going to do anything. So don't do it. Go out there and take risks and enjoy the adventure.
Yep. Else you're going to live a life of buts and what ifs.
Yeah.
And when you sit back, you're going to be like, what did I do?
Because so many people are negative out there. I mean, Josh was just telling me about that right before we started.
Yeah, in my notebook, I keep writing, why are people so angry about everything, like angry about this person, that person, this company, that company, this. And it's like not even like they have anything to do with you. They're just angry. Like, why did they have to paint this green? Why is it like everybody just seems angry at the world when it's not like their way?
Right. And it's always
And
about something that one has they didn't do.
yeah. And you can't do anything about in certain things, right? But it's like, well then instead of being angry, go out and do something positive.
Who cares?
Like it's like
Right, go do your own
what
thing.
they let it I feel like a lot of people let so much just erode at their core, at their mental health, at the core, their heart, their soul. Like they just let everything in this world just erode who they are.
I think, and I think I've talked. I'll say this. I'll segue it into something real quick, and I don't want to beat it up too much. So, I think I talked about a lot of this stuff when in the barbershop, and I'll just for everybody that doesn't know, I used to own a barbershop. I closed it because of health reasons. Josh and I served together. Josh used to come in all the time. I talked a lot about things like these different topics in the barbershop. When I had the barbershop open and I was cutting everybody's
We
hair.
had a lot of
Oh,
barbershop
tons.
talks.
That's probably part of the reason why we're doing this now. Instead of having a barbershop,
Yeah.
we got the podcast, right?
Yeah, I might have taken a couple extended lunch breaks to chit chat with you.
He's not putting that out there, though.
Yeah.
But so the barbershop, you know, I have my theory on instant gratification. That's a whole topic by itself. Probably take me 30 minutes to explain it. But why do I think people are so negative, and why do I think that a lot of this stuff gets compounded like it does? Do I think people were negative back 50 years ago? Of course. I don't think it's anything new. It's probably been that way since the dawn of man. But I think that we see it more now. I'll give a really quick summarization as to why. You ready? We didn't have access to constant information and news like we do now. You got the news and I'll just talk about from when I was a kid. I'm 45, you can do some math. When I was a kid, you got the news in the morning. I'm not going to give times because it's probably different for everybody. In the morning, probably around lunchtime for those people that worked morning shift and wanted to watch it at lunch. In the evening, and then late night news around this one. I'll give you a time, probably around 10, 11-ish o'clock at night for those people that got off the afternoon shift.
And some of them were repeats.
Right. So that's when you got the news. The only other way you absorbed the news back then was through newspapers. Okay? Now, I was young. I didn't really watch a lot of it. I just know about the time frames because of my parents watching it. We didn't have cable TV. We had like the antenna on the roof, or the antenna on the roof, and then on top of that, you I'm pretty sure if there's someone that's got 10 or 15, 20 years on me, I'm pretty sure that the news back then was probably more news, and this is not to try to go down a rabbit hole of politics, was pretty much more news than it is now, and less of the steering the mindset of whatever they want you to watch based on who's paying them. Okay, I'll leave it at that. My point is that nowadays, and I'm not saying anything people don't know, but this is what I used to talk about in the barbershop. Nowadays, instead of having the news at those particular times based on when it would be on TV and when you could get it in newspapers were printed once a day, where they're printed at night and you got it in the morning. You get news constantly. It's constantly flooding your phone, whether it be in a news app or something on your news network on your social media feed or whatever. Some of it's right, most of it's wrong, and the problem is all it does is spark hate, and it sparks anger, and that generates people, and it causes people to get pissed off. And then it based on whatever it is that people are reading, causes people to start getting angry at other people about things that may or may not be what it is that's true or not true.
And then people get angry at each other. Best friends
Right.
are turning on each
Right.
other for some of the simplest, to me, some of the dumbest stuff. That's just Josh's, like if you have decades old friendship, do not let politics, social media, stuff like that
Correct.
ruin a friendship. There's nothing wrong with agreeing to, like, people are cutting lines. Like, if you vote for this person,
Families.
you have to, what's it called? You are 100% them if you voted for him. Well, I hate to say it, but sometimes all you got is lemons.
Right.
And you got to try to make the best lemonade that you can and what you think is right or wrong.
I'll give
different.
I'll give an example. I've got family members back home
Yeah.
that are, and I'm from Ohio. I got family members back home that want nothing to do with President Trump. I hate to break it to everybody, and I'm not going to say who I voted for because it doesn't really matter. This is a fact of the matter. No matter who you voted for, one way or the other, you should just want success for our country.
Yeah.
End of story.
Like,
But I mean, that's really all you should want is our country to be successful. Whether it's whoever's in the White House, the Capitol building, Senate,
your local government.
right? You should just want success, right? So, why did I say all this? My point is that Josh is not wrong. There's so much hate. There's so many people being angry towards one another. The fact of the matter is, instead of taking all that anger and all that energy with anger and directing it towards shitty comments at people about how, oh, why are you wearing a stupid vest when you're only running 4 miles? Or see, I'm circling it all the way back around. Or why are you, why are you doing this? Or why are you doing that? Or why is he wearing
such a mouth breather?
Yeah. Or why are you
That's an inside joke, everybody.
yeah, it's a side joke, but the person, if he hears it, knows who we're talking to. Why are you running and putting on that hat when that's not good for running, or wearing those shoes, or why do you breathe heavy when you run, or anything like what? And wipe away all that energy and stack that shit towards something that's going to give you a win. And if that's your way of winning, then do it towards someone that cares, because the person you're doing it to probably doesn't. So
you should just be happy that they're out running. They're doing something.
Positive.
They're stacking a win for themselves or for their family or for their friends. Instead, they hate on it.
My mom used to say, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all, right?
Yeah.
She did say sticks and stones will break your bones, but names will never hurt you. So, like, I don't really let it bother me. But my point is that use that energy to do something more positive, right? Take all that energy that you're using, like Josh is saying, that's negative, and target that towards something that's going to make you a better person or make somebody else a better person. Use it towards your family. Take your kids out and go do something. Take your spouse, your wife, your boyfriend, your whoever, and go do something positive with that energy instead of being shitty towards somebody else. Yeah. Stack some wins in a positive way. I know we're sitting here like talking about that stuff, and it seems like we're just like, being negative in our own right. We just don't want to see it. We see enough of it.
I'm being negative against the negative.
Right. And
I'll tell you what, here's a good story.
Yeah, make it positive,
if
Josh.
If you want positivity, here's a great book. Research the Bible, because we all know I have a faith-based recovery program, right? And go look up the story about the Good Samaritan. And hit us up in the comments about it. And be the Good Samaritan to your fellow humans. Be that person. Because I think it's a lot of times we talk about the mindset issues. I think it's also we have a heart issue.
Yeah.
As a society, is we have a heart issue. Then they're connected. And I think sometimes people just they need their heart fixed to get their mind right.
Yeah, I would agree.
Go look it up, or pull out the dust off your Bible if you have one, or go look up the story of the Good Samaritan.
There you go. We all got homework.
And you want to see positivity, somebody doing right off of just faith and doing the right thing, go look up that story in the Bible.
That sounds like a good one.
And, so,
But yeah. So I think we're on the right page.
yeah.
We just we need to support each other, and that's why it was a couple podcasts ago or something where Josh and I talked about when you see your friends doing something, we're all quick to want to support influencers or whoever the heck it is that we don't even know and will probably never meet. And I saved this to the very end because I'm really big into archery, right? And bow hunting. There was a lot of these same archery influencers or bow hunting influencers at the Total Archery Challenge. And I'm telling you, I'm not one of those guys that's going to, and this is just my personality. I'm not trying to say anything or whatever. I'm not one of those guys that's going to go out of my way to run up and like get my picture taken with people. It's just who I am. A lot of these people were there. They were at this place that have hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of followers on all the social media platforms. And I'm telling you, I didn't go up and I didn't shake their hands. I didn't go up and ask for pictures because to me they're no different than anybody else. And if I wouldn't do that to somebody in the grocery line, why would I do it to these people? And it's not because I think I'm better than them. It's because I don't think they're any better than any of us. So I'm not going to go out of my way in a sense to give any credit to people like that. I wouldn't do it to any major celebrities. I wouldn't do it to the president of the United States because we all work hard. Who I think deserves that kind of credit is the people that's closest to us, your family, your small circle. So pay attention to that. And when you see your family and your friends and the people you care about doing great things, recognize it because they're the ones that should matter the most to you. That's what I think. I think they're the ones that need it the most.
Ooh, that's what I'm talking about right there. It's so true. Boy, we got some good stuff coming up.
Oh boy, yeah.
Oh, but get ready. Let's get ready.
We can't talk about all of it because one of them we just started putting together. Yeah, brainstorming some ideas. But we got a really great idea that we're putting together to grow this. The foundation's been made. We've talked about that. Josh and I laid the foundation for this, for the Stack and Wins mindset, our alcoholic recovery, and it will always come back to that.
Yep.
We'll always have guests that are, I'll say, fellow alcoholics that we'll bring on, that will talk about their stories. But like I said, we're not just going to stick with that. There's way too much to grow from with this than to just stay with this. So we are growing with it.
Yeah, time to build the ranch, baby. Time to build the ranch.
So we have some other things that we're going to start putting together. You're going to see some more good stuff.
And we're excited, man. It's good times coming.
We got it's on June 14th.
Yes, June 14th.
June 14th, Josh's house. If you want to be a part of it, we're gonna do a 10-mile ruck over at his house
in Gales Ferry.
You can send us a message on Instagram at Stack and Wins, or you can send it to Josh on Instagram or Facebook, and we will get you the address. We want as many people to show up as we can, and we're gonna start working on putting a team together for next year in April.
Yes, it's a great cause, great organization.
That's right.
And we're going to start out do some training this summer. And why not start out with a nice 10-mile ruck? Brian and Sam will be there to help give advice of what lessons learned from their ruck last year.
Absolutely.
So, and get people ready. We got just over 10 months to get ready.
And it's going to go by quick. Let me tell you, before you know it. I always told people this after I retired. Every time I turn around, it's Friday. and before you know it, you're going to turn around and it's going to be November. We're going to be celebrating the holidays. The holidays are going to go by in a snap, and then next thing you know, it's going to be February, and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I signed up. I already signed up for that Tough Ruck. Not only do I got to finish, getting ready for it, that thing's coming. Am I going to chicken out and not go? And I'm going to be like, no, we got you on the list. You're coming.
Yeah, you're on this team. And that time of year is not only the holidays, it's the season of comfort food.
It's the hardest time to train, but you can't give up. So
everybody loves their carbs during the winter.
We'll be calling everybody out.
Yep.
To get ready for it. So
self-accountability and accountability of others.
That's right.
And summer, it's almost here in Connecticut, man. Get out there.
It's coming.
Do stuff outside, man. Enjoy the weather. We've been waiting. It's been a slow, agonizing winter. I'm so looking forward to it.
Oh, I can't wait.
And that. So.
Okay. Josh, you got anything else, buddy?
No, man. It was a great show as always, man. I have a blast here chit-chatting with you, talking about things. I'm excited about what's coming up. Excited
I am too.
I'm actually excited to look into this Total Archery Challenge with you guys.
Oh, I think you should do it.
Whether I'm the jester or the cameraman.
Well, they have spots to just have a walker. That's what Eli's dad was. It's like $30 to just come and walk.
Really?
Yeah, you can just come and be a guy that just is with the group just walking.
Yeah, you know me. If I don't have something to do, you guys will be like, Josh, we can't even shoot at anything. You'll never.
Where'd Josh go?
Yeah, I'll be in the woods. Hey guys, look what I found.
You don't want to do that.
Josh, why are you wearing a beaver hat?
Bows
yeah.
So, all right, guys.
There's a polar bear in the woods.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel, please. It helps us out, and we really appreciate it.
See the fingers going.
That's right. We need them numbers to go up. It helps out so much. So, all right, guys. We'll catch you on the next one. Stacking Wins. We'll see you soon.
Stacking Wins in June is here.
That's right. All right, guys.